Welcome back to the next installment of the InDesign basic or general introduction. Now in this short sequence we are going to go through how to place an image into our document. Now one thing to bear in mind with InDesign is that we're not necessarily pasting in documents and that they permanently belong or they're permanently embedded into the document. Now you can do that, but the way that InDesign is intended to function is that it's a repository of text and images that you can then edit as you go through or as you develop the report. It's also good for group work because someone can be putting the report together and another person can be then editing the Photoshop file or drawing file and so on. So in some ways learning how to place, or rather insert a link to another file is really the best way of using InDesign. So as we know from our template, this region through here is where we want to place our money shot. Now the size of this area, it's going to be half an A3, which is an A4 sheet, and it's 10 millimeters in from each side. So that means our image size, to fill that whole screen, that whole region in through there, is going to be 210 minus 20 for the width, so that's 190 wide, and 297 minus 20 for the height, so that's 277 high. Now as policy, I usually do most of my image resizing and editing in Photoshop and then place them into InDesign at the last minute. So I'm going to do that. So I'm going to minimize InDesign here. Now I'm going to find the images for the presentation. So let's have a look through here. There's the montages, the photo montages. Now I am going to use, I'm going to have a go at this one here. So I'm going to copy that file and I'm going to put it into my live demonstration where my presentation is. I'm going to paste it through there. So all of the images and drawings and things that I use, I'm going to bring it all into the same folder so that when I link, that InDesign will always know where to find the images that are used in that presentation. So I'm just going to launch that pre-Kindy image. Now if I just go to the image size, I can see the width of the images is 29.7 and the height is 21.2. So this is going to be a reasonably tricky one to paste in because the proportion of the images is almost opposite to what we want. So like for example, if we adjust the height of this to 27.7 centimeters, Control 0, and if we then bring this through to 190, there's 190, there's 19, you can see we're not going to get very much information about the overall image. However, in some senses that actually doesn't look so bad as a sort of a snapshot of the image, and it does focus on this tower-like element, which is an important, I guess, iconic feature. It gives a centering to the building. It's an important passive ventilation item, and it's also a cheerful thing that addresses this outdoor kindy space. So I might actually be quite okay with that image. So I'm going to click on that. It's slightly unusual, but let's run with it for now. I'm just going to double check the image size on that. So it's 19 centimeters wide, which is 190 millimeters. We can change that. 190 and 277 millimeters high. So it's more or less going to fit in as is. So I'm going to save that, File, Save, and I'll close that off. I'll close this other one off as well. Minimize Photoshop and open up my InDesign file. So I'm going to place it into this region here. So to do that, I'm going to go File, Place. Now the shortcut for this is Control D, and if you're placing a lot of images, it's a good shortcut to remember. But we'll do File, Place, click on that, and then we just navigate to where that image was saved. So let's have a look where it is, live demonstration, and there's our image there. We're going to double click on that, and we can see there's a little thumbnail representation through here, and I'm just going to click on that to activate it, and then I'm going to use my arrow tool, just to sort of pointer tool, to move that into its location. Now if you pick up the whole frame, it should snap into the guide location. Now if we wanted to, we could resize this. I'm going to hit my shift to constrain it, and say I'm going to resize that frame. Now what you notice has happened is that it's resized the frame, but it hasn't actually resized the image inside. But if I click on the image and right click, I can then go Fit Content to Frame, and what it will do is that it will resize the full image to that new frame dimension that I set up. Now I'm going to go Control Z to get back to where I was before. Going to save that. Okay, and you'll notice in here, in this links palette to the side, we've now got a that link embedded into our links palette. Now if for whatever reason, say I go back here, pre-kindy view from new grassy, let's rename that, new grassy space. Okay, now if we go back into our InDesign file, you'll see all of a sudden there's a question mark against that file. Now it cannot find the file anymore associated with the image because I've renamed the image. So that's why it's important to keep a check on the sort of file naming and where you file it. So if I even put it into a different folder, this same problem would occur. Now if I go into links, I can just click on that, double click, and just research that image. So I'm going to just navigate to that image again, double click on that, and now the link has been restored. So if you find yourself getting a lot of these broken links, you can then manage that again through the links palette. Okay, so we're going to leave it there with the placements tool. You can use the same method to place really any of the images in that through here, and just be mindful with the resizing and the naming convention, and you should more or less be okay. Thanks again for listening.